Checking in with Mitchell.
Hello.
Mitchell, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic. Happy Sunday to you.
Thank you. You as well.
Awesome. So, sounds like you took a big step there, right?
I sure did. I had been contemplating this for about a month or two. I had a birthday coming up, and I just decided I'm just gonna go. I'm just gonna go for it.
Exactly. And then so the previous, I mean, how long were you on UberX?
Believe it or not, I was on UberX maybe 4 years actually.
Okay, so you got a lot of good history there and a lot of knowledge from that,
Yeah.
right? And then what car were you driving, if I may ask, at
I
that time?
had a Chevy Malibu, 2016 Chevy Malibu.
Okay, and you probably put on quite a few miles, right?
I put on 83,000 miles.
83. Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
That's about 20,000 a year on average.
Roughly, yes.
Cool. And then so you did some pretty decent hours. Then what if you could like what did it sort of average out to?
How many hours per week average?
Yeah, like sort of like on the X, how many hours were you
I
putting in?
I would say average. I'm more average than more average about 25 hours a week
Okay, and you were
on
pulling
average.
those numbers like on average. What were you making from Monday to Monday?
25 hours, about 600 a week.
Okay, good. And then was that like more weekends or
Yes, more weekends. Friday night, more weekends than anything. Yeah.
so you worked more like the peak paying hours, right? Like Friday and Saturday.
Yes.
So then you upgraded to the Suburban.
Mhm.
That probably because of the qualifications in it's Chicago, right?
Yes, I'm in
So
Chicago.
the Lyft allowed you obviously to drive in all those categories, the Lux, I guess, the SUV and the XL. Am I right in saying that?
Lyft, I can go all the way up to black.
Okay, cool. So you're on like at least 3, 4 platforms on.
Mhm.
That's good. But
Yes.
obviously, it's not as busy as Uber, right?
Yeah, that was also my worry. Like I did mention to you that on Uber X, I mean, sorry, not Uber X. Uber Black has different requirements, and I am not meeting those requirements only because I need to actually
Yes.
uh, get some like livery
Yes,
plates.
it's a livery license, and that's I'm gonna spend some time talking about that because I just want to show you like where you were at X, you got the
Mhm.
know-how, you did the hours, you got all
Mhm.
the intel about the city. Then you obviously you were on they probably put you on Uber XL right for now, which is
Yeah, for now, yeah.
it's a cool category. It really is. It's a good category.
Mhm.
It's busy, and I'm sure you saw a big uptick in earnings from X to XL, right? Like quite a tremendous jump, at least miles,
Yeah,
minutes, etc., and
and one
tips.
of your videos, I believe you had mentioned, or actually you were displaying one of the negatives, which is the whole having to travel some distance to pick up someone, and that's pretty much what I'm seeing on Uber XL. I'm
Yes.
having to travel somewhat.
Well, that's also very much sign of the times right now. I can
Mm-hmm.
assure you that 2020 right now is not 2019. So what's
Right.
happening now is if larger groups need to move,
Mm-hmm.
generally the X trips are fairly close by. The quantity of them, 76% are Uber X trips, but you have to go a little bit further for the XL. But they pay off. I mean, they'll probably be longer trips with multiple people with better
Sure.
tips, right? Now with the
Yeah.
with the livery license, this is where it really gets exciting, right? Um,
Mm.
that money, set that aside. It's not crazy money to do that
Mm-hmm.
process, but I'm here in California, which is the most expensive process. It's way cheaper in Florida, Texas. New York is fairly expensive. Chicago is actually fairly decent. It's not that bad. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the steps usually are that if you're financing the Suburban, I guess you're financing it, right?
Right. Yeah.
And the one thing that the financing house has to be okay with is that the way it is registered with the DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles, is that it's probably registered as a regular vehicle, or did you get it registered as a commercial vehicle?
No, I have it registered as a regular vehicle.
Okay, so you have to get the financing house on board with the fact that you want them to switch you over to commercial status, right?
Okay.
Because in the process, this is where a lot of people run into the roadblocks, right, or into the hurdles, is that you go out there, get that car, and that's probably the best car. I think the car that you have right now, the Suburban, is the best car for the industry, and that is the combination of Lyft, Uber, and livery. There's no better workhorse that easily gets to 200,000 miles than a Suburban, right? If you change the liquids, the transmission oil, you do your regular 5,000-6,000 mile oil change. That car is unbreakable. You might have some issues at 150,000 with a transmission, but I've owned so many Suburbans. They've been the most loyal car to me. They're great, right? So when you go through the process, I'll give you the guy. You can always mention my name is Alex at Business Rocket. You can pick his brain, but you basically are registering an LLC, a company. You're getting your commercial DMV registration. You're getting your commercial insurance, which is a huge step up from price-wise from your current rideshare insurance or your regular insurance to commercial insurance, right? That's probably the biggest cost factor that the people are a little bit afraid of to take that next bold step is that commercial insurance for the livery license, right, which they require. But that then now throws you into the upper echelon of Uber. So you automatically get into the black, you get into the SUV categories once you submit that with Uber. And that's a game changer to your earnings. That alone will cover your general expenses. Just that upgrade being on those platforms will cover that sort of insurance and all those additional costs. Where it gets exciting, and I use the soft recruiting approach. I don't think that the hard recruiting approach is right. I put a lot of magazines on my behind my back seats, behind the front seats, so it's facing the passengers. I attach my business card to it. I'll send you a picture of my business card. It's got the picture. It'll have the picture of you, the picture of your car. I guess, is it black on black, black inside, black outside?
Yeah, it's black on black.
Perfect car. You've got the perfect car for it. And you find yourself some area within Chicago where you can pick up those free magazines. Those home and land magazines are the best because people browse them. They drift off, they fantasize. But the main thing is that your business card's in the front, and they usually ask you, "Hey, is this your business card? May I take it?" Absolutely. And that's when I use the soft approach. If you ever are stuck in a situation, even if it's 3:00 in the morning, you're stranded at an airport, you just show them that you care about them. I'll pick you up, right? And I will actually give you a better price than Uber and Lyft gives you. Now understand this. When I use that phrasing, half of your money is always going to Uber and Lyft.
Right.
Correct? So if the rider, that new potential private client that you're recruiting through your car, right? When they say, well, how are you cheaper than Uber? And you say, well, okay, if you booked an SUV trip and it would be $100, okay, I would only be making 50% of that through Uber, $50. But I can extend that trip to you for $85. You're saving 15, and I'm making 35 more than I usually make. So you walk them through the math. They like that. They trust it. You show them how they save money. They already like you because you're a good high. I'm sure you're 4 point some, very high 4. 5.
Lyft 5.0 over 4.85.
Yeah, you're a superb driver. You're a great communicator, right? So you always use. You don't want to say, "Hey, by the way, here's my business card," because that's the hard approach, right? Because they might. You know that feeling when you drive with someone and you just get on so well with them, you feel like you're buddies already. Those type of people. You just feel like you've truly hit it off, right? And it's not like you connected on some level. Maybe you're talking about sports, maybe you're talking about family, but you hit it off, right? You get a great tip. And those are the type of people you can say, oh, by the way, I really enjoyed having you on board. A fantastic trip. Thank you for making the last 30 minutes so delightful. If you're ever stuck anywhere, if your kids are stuck anywhere, I have tons of references. Here's my card, right? And that you can do with someone that you get on extremely well with on a trip. and you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Sure, yeah.
You got those guys in the car that shut up and don't say anything. I wouldn't give them a card. You get the guys that
Right.
are like moaning and groaning and a bit negative. You can just feel it in the energy. But then you
Mm-hmm.
get those like high spirited, uplifting people that you want to surround yourself with. Those are the people that I always give a card, you know.
Okay.
And I always compliment them at the end, and I say, "Hey, thank you for making this trip so enjoyable. Really enjoyed your company. You know, you help them with the luggage. You'll also see that with your bigger car, you will be doing bigger groups, more luggage. That's sort of like the main reason
Mm-hmm.
why you sort of tend to get more airport trips. And by the way, September 2020 that we're in right now,
Mm-hmm.
it won't be reflective of March, April 2021 when you probably have your livery license, right?
Okay.
It's going to get better. It's like
Okay.
it's just the market has to come back, the industry has to come back, and I can tell you from my limo company, it went down to 20%, and I started panicking a bit. So
Yeah.
I dropped all my leasing rates. I kept the drivers going. Wasn't making a
Mm-hmm.
profit, but I was sustaining my business, and I can see it
Okay.
coming back more and more and more. Unfortunately, I just broke my leg, so that puts that puts me out of action. But
Wow.
so the process. I'll give you a great guy that you can reach out to. You can pick his brain.
Mm-hmm.
You can do the process less expensive on your own if you just
Mm-hmm.
find a cheap way to use an LLC service like Business Rocket or LegalZoom, and you form your identity in future. Even if with your apartments and that, you can always, there's so many benefits buying it through the company because all of your expenses, you can write off a part of your home as an office expense, your cameras, your computers. There's a lot of upside to running uh, your private limo business /
Okay.
Lyft / Uber,
Mm-hmm.
through an LLC, right? Your
Got it.
biggest challenge right now will be maybe a little bit of the resistance that you will get from the finance house.
Got it. Okay.
So be nice to them and say, listen, this is what I want to do. Or, I
Mm-hmm.
might have to refi through someone else. I do want to stay with you guys. Work with me,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Got it.
But when you enter that arena, and that is who you are because you already took that step up to get that type of car, that's in your
Mm-hmm.
DNA. That's who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You you have like a business. You have the business approach. 90% don't have the business approach. 90% are
Right.
too fearful to take that step.
Right.
All the people that I've worked with over the last 6 7 years, tons of
Mm-hmm.
references, they never ever regretted taking this step. As long as you just follow the formula and
Mm-hmm.
build. And every new person you recruit as a private driver, you can make a lot of
Mm-hmm.
videos out there. You can make your Facebook page. You can do a lot of social media to support your company. You give your company a name, you give it a
Okay.
logo, and you treat it as a business. And by the way, down the line, 4 or 5 years later, you can sell that livery license with your clients for 30, 40, $50,000, right?
Really?
I've
Okay.
bought several of them from other people. I've bought
Mm-hmm.
their TCP, their fleets incorporated into
Mm-hmm.
my fleet. So I have a big fleet of about 58 cars right now. You know,
Okay.
so
Wow.
I'm telling you, it's better than any apartment model. The return of investment is after 15 months. Um, I can teach you that formula. You always have my phone number.
Sure.
You can pick my brain anytime. The way you
Yeah.
the way you pick future drivers, you interview
Mm-hmm.
them, the way there's so much upside if you want to build it out. But right now you're a one man show with an
Mm-hmm.
expensive car, and you want to make that car work for you, right?
Sure.
That
Yes.
I think that's pretty accurate. Um,
Yeah, that's pretty much the way I'm looking at it. Especially, like I've seen your videos. You've always considered your Suburban as your workhorse. That's
yes,
pretty much what I'm. That's pretty much the way I want to look at my Suburban as well.
and and look at that car being like your office that'll pay for your apartment and all your other costs that you have around you. Let that vehicle work for you,
Mm-hmm.
and the right now you have your income. How many hours are you putting in with the Suburban right now? Same.
This week I did about 20.
Okay.
Yeah, I only did about 20 this
So
week.
you doing this part time or is this full time?
I only do it part time only because I have a full time job.
Oh, good. Okay, cool. So you got the full time job, and then are using this as 20, 25 extra hours. You want to maximize your efforts.
Right.
Oh,
And then here's the thing. I kind of screwed up earlier this week. I didn't. You know what? I don't know. I wasn't thinking logically. I didn't turn off UberX.
okay.
I was getting a ride UberX, and I was like, wait a minute. And I was like, I'm getting screwed out of money here.
Look, I don't think UberX is a bad idea if you're stuck somewhere in an area where there's no movement, right? But but the shifts that you are choosing, those are peak shifts, and you should always be, toggling between XL or your Lyft. I'm sure you have both apps on. You take whichever comes first. That's.
And then the other thing is that it really was a waste of UberX because I actually work in the downtown area, so I usually would start it up right after work in downtown during rush hour, and that's where I would have it on for UberX, and I'm like, wait a minute, no,
yeah.
I shouldn't be doing it like
that doesn't work with the Suburban because you know that's quite a thirsty car, right? It drinks. So your profit margins are obviously not too hot when you're on X, but you'll be busy, and the people are like, oh wow, we're getting a Suburban you're ordering an UberX. They delighted. It's like 6 stars, right? But the money is just not there.
So I think this was just about Friday. Friday was like, wait a minute, what the hell am I doing? So Friday night, I was like, oh, okay. Now I'm making way better money, having Lyft Lux and then Uber XL, and I was like, wait a minute, now here's the difference.
And if you drop someone off with Uber XL, and you're only minutes away to a high-end hotel or a banking area or business people, you got the Lyft Lux on or the Black, and whether the Uber XL goes off or whether the Lyft Lux goes off, it's all just really about timing and positioning, right? I mean, if you're more in the evening club time, which obviously not all the clubs are open, all of that industry will start coming back, and your earnings are just going to go up and up and up, right? Right now in XL in California, people are making crazy money because we have this multiplier, right? And the only reason we have the multiplier here is for, and that doesn't go for any other state around the United States. It's just because that they want to be semi-compliant with AB5, and the people are making money, like they're making crazy money on the XL. They don't even have to do SUV or Black. They're just driving XL, popping $3,000 a week because they get to nominate their rates 2.5, 3x on a Saturday night, and the people are paying it because they got to get home. So that's you don't have that in Chicago. I mean, you have good paying rates. But your future is to really look into that livery license.
Sure. Okay.
And put the money aside for it. It's not a massive investment, but that'll open up a whole new world for you because it'll open up a whole different Uber world for you. A better paying Uber trips, and then slowly, and mark my words, over a 2-year period. And the biggest thing here is word of mouth. Hey, do you have a business card for my friend? I use you. I would highly like to recommend you. Word of mouth is so powerful. So as you start padding and filling out your private trips, you're making way more per trip, but you will find out that you will be doing about 80% of private trips, or let's say 70 to 80% of private trips after 2 to 3 years, and you'll be doing about 20% of Uber and Lyft. And the more private clients you feed into your system, the more organized it gets, because you're picking up that individual Friday at 3 p.m., you're taking them whatever to a concert or whatever the case is, or in the evening. So it becomes more scheduled and more manageable. So you can manage your life around the private trips. You know what I mean?
Right.
Versus, so it's a cool. And then whatever questions you have, send them my way.
Okay.
But just think, as you're a logical businessman, you've taken, you're not taking crazy risks, you're taking calculated risks. I think the true success for your business is to be powerful on all 3 platforms in the shortest amount of time. And don't let the current times put you down, because it's bleak for everyone right now. The market's only back 30-40%, right? There's 60% we can still tap into over the next 12 months, right? And then your formula, you using your formula from 4 years of Uber X experience in Chicago, you know the places, you know where to be, and you know, the only room of improvement I see, like if you go into XL or SUV, is you can make the trip a little bit more. Do you carry like waters and mints and that on board?
You know what? The first thing I did was when I bought that Suburban was I looked at your video. I'm not even sure if it's under the Rideshare Professor channel. There was one video where you were introducing yourself and you were showing off your Suburban. You said you always have carry-ons there. You always have water on board, mints on board, hand creams on board.
Well, yeah, I go a little bit overboard. I mean, you don't have to have hand creams and all this. Like I would go overboard, but like in these times, in each of my doors, I have a hand sanitizer that they can spray, so that shows that I care about them. Up front, I have a box of masks, and I say, please, please take one if you need one. I write on there. I've got the magazines in there. I always put the waters out there, and then I have 2 sets of mints up front. Those to me are not costing. Way back, I would spoil them a bit too much. In that category, especially if you're driving in Lux and Black on Lyft, you should have that in the car. If you're driving in XL, you know, you can remove a couple of the waters to save costs. You could just have 2 waters out there, and your mints. You can always adjust accordingly, right? But you get it on the back end in form of a tip, because if you give a person a mask or a water, which is only costing you 50 cents to $1, it sort of equates to $5 to $10 should be coming back your way.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure you've seen a good uptick in your tips from X to XL.
I have, yes, I have. Especially like as you mentioned earlier about these XLs with a lot of groceries. I had a blind woman this morning actually. I helped her with her groceries, but she was packing.
Oh, awesome!
But yeah, she did tip me.
Yeah, so you know that's like, I think in this game, especially when you got that card, it's really platinum customer service, being nice, and but the soft marketing approach, which I've perfected and taught to so many fleet owners and people that drive for me, they've quickly built their business. The add-ons, if you're not camera shy in that, you can make a couple of videos in front of your car and say, hey, you know, I'm here over at Chicago Airport. If you ever need help, here are my numbers. You make short 30 to 60 second videos in all the high-end areas. Don't waste your time. Like, just, you know, you got to make that car, and that's good. That goes nothing against a citizen. I treat everybody equally, right? I don't see people being better because you have more money. You're better than the ex-passenger. I don't look at people like that. But with that car, you have to attract the right type of people to get the most money and the most tips, right? I think that's just common business practice, right? And then if you make your videos around a lot of the banking areas, around high-end hotels. Hey, I'm down here at Hyatt and so-and-so. If you ever need a trip from here, and put in the keywords, put in the description, put in your email, put in your phone. The phone does start ringing, right? So you suddenly get private trips. But the biggest way you will grow your business is word of mouth. People that you're handing the business card to, it's got your picture on it, your face. Oh yeah, that guy, I remember him. On the back of the card, the Suburban, I'll send you my card. It'll look exactly like your card. Oh yeah, that guy drove me, and he drove me in that black Suburban. I remember that guy. That was a great trip. People are very visual when it comes to, you know, to trying to remember. So yeah, that'll help you a lot. And then just communicate with me. And if you have any questions along the way, you can just text. I'll be really back on my feet like Monday or Tuesday. I just had a surgery yesterday. So, you know, I'm there. I always get back to the people, you know.
Driving too hard, Torsten?
I was going a little bit too fast, doing a little bit too much. And, you know, I think this was a good sign that I need to slow down a little bit. Yeah, and I passed out, broke my leg and my foot and my ankle, 3 breaks, very freak accident. But what it taught me is that I was doing too much. Right. So I'm going to I just got married 2 weeks ago.
Oh wow, that's nice.
So yeah, it was cool. And
Congratulations.
thank you so much. Great family. I merged two big families together, so I've got 5 kids now. Um,
Oh wow.
so I'm a family guy. I love my children. I just want to. To me, I got to slow down on the business. I tend to do too much. So that's
Yeah,
my
I think
biggest.
we all tend to do that.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
the universe sends us those signs. It doesn't. Yeah, cool.
Uh-huh.
And I'm very approachable. I mean, you can literally anytime just reach out, whatever the case is. Or hey, I ran into this scenario. What do you think you would do? There's many scenarios I've been in, and I can pass on the advice, or I learn from my other drivers. So
Mm-hmm.
I can give you a lot of good advice if you want to build a business, grow it out,
Sure.
and how to improve your own business. But the next logical step that I would encourage you to do would be to look at the livery license and everything that is required with it.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, no, for sure. I mean, you actually had sent a link. What was it, the Rocket or something?
Business Rocket, yeah, that's a guy,
Right,
Alex,
Business Rocket.
or you can go onto the website and reach out. Just use my name, Torsten Kunert, Rideshare Professor. They know me well. I've been using them for all the years, and at least you'll get someone on the line. If it's not Alex, he's got another great guy, and they can steer you in the right direction. But a lot of that, all of the stuff that you need to do is also on Google, right? You just want to find. Sometimes it takes longer if you do it yourself, right? But right now you've got the time. I would rather like do it yourself and save some extra money because the market is not quite there yet, right?
Okay.
We're talking like 20 to 30% private trips are coming back. Most of the people are staying safe and still staying in homes, no holidays. A lot of my and by the way, the real upside is the relationships that you will build in that world, the private. It'll lead to far bigger. I've got businesses now with some of my clients. While I was in surgery, at least 7, 8 big gift packages arrived. I mean, I get third, fourth seat Laker tickets from my clients. I take care of them, especially focus on their kids. If you get into a group where you take the kids, you keep them safe, I communicate with the parents, hey, I pick up the kids from Universal Studios or Disneyland. We're here right now. They want to grab something to eat. I keep the parents informed. And in this affluent area where I live, in Calabasas, Hidden Hills, maybe the name rings a bell, Malibu, they all know me. They know that I'm a go-to guy, and I treat their kids like my kids. So the biggest ticket for you for private trips is when you build that trust and they start passing you around because you pick up the kid from a football match, or you take the kid to a basketball practice, and they pay top dollars, right? These people pay top dollars, and the more trust and the more you move towards friendship, insane things open up. I formed Airbnb relationships with people. I get to stay at their holiday resorts in Florida and Mexico. I get invites. I can go on plane with the one guy, go to Learjet. I mean, I'll tell you what, just be very open-minded and just let it flow. Great things will happen if you enter that world, and you don't see those characters in UberX. You don't. Right? You just don't. Like you'll drive the budget people, right? But
Right.
the real learning comes from UberX. And then if you driving these type of clients on Uber Lux, Uber SUV, Uber Lux, Lyft Lux, and private clients, these can be CEOs, they can be NBA players, they can be actors, they can be rock stars, hip hop stars. You'll end up driving them all at some stage. Then you just want to make sure that they book you over and over and over and over again. In my business, I'll have a good Saturday, maybe make $2,000 a day in one day, right?
Wow.
Because I prepare to do 2 trips in the morning, and maybe I get a booking in the and that's not a norm. I'm not saying that's not a norm. I'm just saying those are the highest numbers, right? But I've had tips from Dwayne Wade, $400-500 tips each time, right? I drive Dwayne Wade, or I'm just saying it is possible. The way you treat the people, the way you're nice to them, which you are, it will come back to you. But you have the right car for that. You have a few little missing components.
Sure.
Cool. Good.
Got it.
I don't want to overkill it here now, but just reach out anytime. Like literally.
No, that was very that was kind of the motivation I needed.
Yeah.
Kind of what I wanted to hear. Just to like I said, I didn't get the Suburban. I didn't want to go about it the same way I was doing UberX. Worrying about trying to get so many trips and so many hours. I didn't want to go about it like that. But now that you kind of opened up the
Yeah, that's the
what I could expect.
that's the like I don't want to. It's sort of like the hamster wheel approach. You get stuck in that wheel, and it's a rut, and you got to break out of it because that's where Uber and Lyft want you to be. That's where they make money, right? And then what you've done is already the next big step up, which is Excel, and you see the improvement. The journey that I'm gonna take you on is that like there is a whole third exciting world after that, and it might only be that you do it like for 4 or 5 years. You know what I mean? But the relationships that you will get from that will be mind blowing. Right? It's it's a very trusted person, right? People will go to a psychologist. People will have their trusted driver, right? And you can spend years with these people, right? And believe me, are you married or have a girlfriend or a wife or are you?
I do have a daughter, but I'm not with a woman anymore.
Well, I mean, they'll invite you to barbecues, and you'll see how this material, as long as you invite it in, I believe me, it will happen. And as long as you're a networker and you're not shy with giving out business cards, I get rid of a lot of business cards per week. I'm a very, but I only give them to people where I realize, wow, we're on the same page. And
I have a question about how private trips go, or how they initiate them, or I'm sorry, not how they initiate them. I mean, I guess I just want to know how the transactions are made, or I believe you mentioned something about giving them a price. Wow.
Yeah. So what I do is, when you get the opportunity to recruit an individual or at least hand over a business card, that could truly result in a future phone call. It usually does, right? Not right away, but 3 weeks. Hey, you remember me? Mine. So you drove me to blah blah blah. You mentioned something about pricing or a little bit of a discount. What I do is the Rider app has all the intel. The Rider app from your house where you are right now to the airport will give you a price. You can jump on your Rider app and look at that pricing. Right? It'll give you a pretty accurate estimate from point A to B. Do you agree with that?
I have two phones. Yeah, I know the message.
So
with the pricing.
Yeah, so you know your pricing fairly well on XL and SUV, and you don't really price yourself as when you're doing privates. You more price yourself as an SUV. You don't look really at the XL rates, right? You have to look at SUV rates, which are or lux. You could move somewhere between they're getting a luxury service. Okay, it's not a Rolls Royce, it's not a Bentley, it's not an S550, it's not a BMW 760. It's a Suburban. So you give them an SUV price. If you know that from point A to B, you know the time, the duration, the miles, and you could say that trip would cost the client $120 or $140 or $150 in an SUV. I'll give it to them for $110 or $120. Right?
Got it.
I give them a price break. I'm not making $75 of $150 from Uber. I'm now making $120 out of the $150. That $30 in their mind, even the richest of the richest people see that as a savings. They really do. They're money conscious, right? And on top of it, they're getting water. On top of that, they're getting all the service. And the big thing boils down to reliability. Hey, I need to book you on Friday night, 8 p.m. We're going to a concert. Before the concert, we're going to a restaurant. Drive us there, and then you take us back. Okay, so you got a window from 8 p.m. till 12 p.m., right? Now, you can't look at those 4 hours as just a regular Uber trip there and a regular Uber trip back, because you obviously have downtime. They're drinking, you drive them back, right? So you look at it as a package deal. Like, let's say it's a one-way trip to an airport. Good, I can give you a price. It's a 4-hour deal. And what I do is I make it very, very reasonable. I factor in, okay, that's what it would cost them there. That's what it would cost them back. I discount those two, and then maybe I'll charge them another $50 per hour, or $30 to $50 for the waiting time, where you're not working, you're not driving, you're not burning gas.
Sure.
You're waiting on them, right? Many a times when you have those sort of clientele, they'll sometimes invite you along. The one cool thing is, like, I'm sure, Guns N' Roses and Foo Fighters, Travis Scott, Kendrick Lamar, Ray Shremmerd, I've driven them all. Some of them I drive again and again, even like Willie Nelson, a lot of those guys. But they'll take you into the concert. They'll take you in with the event. Depends how tight you with them. Depends how close you with them. I also do security, so I offer security, like bodyguarding. So sometimes I'll be bodyguarding the guy, and you can charge for all of those. You can charge extra, but to price something out, it's very easy. A to B, look at your Lyft rates, your Uber rates, discounted it by 15 to 20%. If you're looking at a few hours, charging for the trip there, discounted, trip back, discounted, and then whatever you want to factor in for the 2 or 3 hours. Understand that the very expensive limo companies and the ones that and these are like the hot. Again, I don't want to point at any nationalities, but these are just very hardcore, long working hour people that have a Suburban, and they'll work for 2 or 3 limo companies. They work for them. So they get the trips from them. The company makes the money. The company charges about $250 an hour, and they get about $80, right? And they're happy with that. But you shouldn't get sucked into that model, because you sort of get sucked into the Uber model of limos. You understand that? So what you want to do is you want to be the boss. You want to set your rates, and you don't really, if you have to and it's quiet time, sure, you could attach your license to any of these bigger limo companies, but they charge an arm and a leg. They don't have the best drivers. They really don't. It's usually really hardcore Croatian, Serbian, Russian working guys that will frickin' live in the car, and nothing against them, love them dearly, but maybe not like the people skills like you and I, where we can extract top dollars and give top clientele. And usually those are not the type of people that end up driving their kids and their family. You got to become a really trusted person, and I'm telling you, it'll open up doors that you never, ever thought of. The businesses that I started through my clients, right? My clients will say they got so much money, they're bored. And I say, Torsten, what's the hottest thing? You want to do something together? Do you want to? And like the one guy say, let's open up another company. I'll give you $300,000. You know what I mean? I mean, don't say no to that. Don't say no to that. Just be open-minded, and then just let it, But you asked me on the pricing. I always tend to go off on a little bit of a tangent, but the pricing is not difficult. And by the way, if you ever get your first private client, you can always call me up and say, hey, Torsten, this guy wants to go from there to there. How do I do it? And then I would just walk you through the basics. Okay, how much would they be charged on Uber? How much would they be charged on Lyft? Right? And you can always say to the guy, how much you historically pay for that trip to the airport here. Am I accurate in saying that trip usually runs you 120? And they'll say, yeah, that's fairly accurate. Well, guess what? I can do that for 100. And by the way, you will always get the $20 tip. You will always get that, because what they were doing, they were putting 10 or 20 on top of the 120. They are always saving $20 each time. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's an automatic, almost guarantee with private clients. The tips can run from $10, like I say, to $500. Right. It's mind blowing. It just depends who you have in your car and who you get as a client. I've been very fortunate. I don't know how I attracted all these people. I guess it's because I live in an area where I established myself early in that service, and it was a very diverse, colorful, multicultural, very influential area where I just picked up a ton of clients. And I don't have to go to other crazy places across town to pick anyone up. Rather find your little niches and build them there. So, okay, from your house to that area, cool. That's my driving time to pick them up. From there to there, I'm making good money. What are generally your longest trips? Are they to airports?
Yeah, honestly, to longer trips, yeah, they've been to airports recently, anyway.
And from where you live to where you really pick up where you have a really reliable source of trips, is that fairly close by? Where do you go and position yourself generally?
Honestly, so because I work Friday, when I work Fridays a week, Monday through Friday, what I'll do is because I work 15 minutes from my house in downtown.
Okay.
In downtown is where I start. I position myself downtown.
Perfect. Yeah. Okay. So you're only 15 minutes from downtown?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, with no traffic, yes, 15 minutes.
So, I mean, that's a no-brainer. And that's really where you'll get most of your private clients anyway, because, you're in a big banking city. Once you break into a couple of those circles, it'll go like fire, right? They'll pass you around. But all I can say is make a massive effort to have at least 3 or 4 magazines behind every seat. I buy, the US, the People magazine, those cheap magazines that, those really fluffy magazines that the ladies like reading.
Yeah.
And then I'll have maybe a newspaper, but I always get my free magazines here. There's tons of outlets in Chicago where you can get free magazines. Home and land magazines, I find, are the ones that they pick up the most. And I staple my business card in front with the face facing them on every single magazine. And what they always do is they say, "May I take your card?" Right? And a brilliant add-on, which thank God I also did, is I did my real estate license, right? And you can sell real estate through your car like there's no tomorrow because you establish the relationships. I mean,
okay. I follow.
The real money is done in real estate. So the best add-on, you do an online course through Allied Schools in Chicago, whatever. You get it done in 1 or 2 months. You do your and then you start building small, but you will attract the right clients to do big deals. That's what I do, like big deals, And it only takes 1 or 2 deals a year, Or you work with other brokers and that. But it's a great add-on to the car because you're talking to them and they'll say, oh, they see on your card, on the back of your card, oh, you're also a realtor. Yeah, I do. I have my limo service and I gladly drive buyers and sellers around if they're looking for a home. Very good to know. Thank you. And by then now they have a relationship with you, so they know you.
Right.
So they trust you, and then the next thing materializes, and the next thing. Just keep that in mind as an add-on.
Sure.
All right, my friend. I'm running a little.
I'm sorry, one last.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'll fire away.
Just one last question. Airports. I kind of noticed a big one on airport flights. Airport drivers being there, and I was at O'Hare Airport here in Illinois, and that was a drag before I even got a request. I was just wondering where your thoughts are on airports.
Well, the airports suck at the moment. Doesn't matter which one you're in, they suck, right? And that's not just in your city. That's in my city. It's in Orange County. It's terrible, right? So you don't want to spend too much downtime. Time is money, right?
Right.
I can assure you it'll bounce back. But where you're going to make your real money is the to and froms, dropping off at an airport, private, picking up from an airport. That's where you're going to make most of your money, right? And that's like clockwork. So most of just to give you an idea, and I speak to people in Houston, your city, New York, all people that have helped build fleets. The number one go-to money maker is picking up a client, taking them to the airport, picking them up on the way back, right? And it's a little bit more tricky on the way back because you really have to follow the flights. Sometimes they're delayed. But by the way, even if a flight is delayed, you're getting paid for that extra time. You know what I mean?
Right.
The difference is the way you're treating it right now is you go to an airport, you might be sitting on a waiting lot and you get frustrated right now in the pandemic times. That sounds pretty accurate, right? It's not. It's not like that with privates. It's very, very scheduled. You know when they leave, so you know you have to build in a buffer. You got to know your city. You know your driving time. You got to get there you got to get them 1.5 hours before a regular domestic flight. You have to get them there 2 hours before an international flight, and then the pickup. Oh yeah, he or she arrives 9 p.m. in the evening or 11. Okay, I got to pull in there a little bit early. Oh shit, this plane is running a bit early. It's 20 minutes ahead of schedule. It's 30 minutes after schedule. It's all about timing, and the pickup is more difficult than the drop off. The drop off is the easiest. Pick you up, drive you there, throw you out, get paid, right? But the airports right now, I hear you, I feel you. It's very frustrating, and I would rather stick to your current downtown city formula versus if you drop someone off at the airport, then waiting around at the airport. That could probably not be not the best money maker. But if you have if you ever drop someone off at an airport and the economy comes back a little bit and you're on SUV, Lux, and you have your private, you can toggle between the upper categories of Uber and Lyft and get a high paying ride out that might even materialize into a future private trip.
Got it.
So airports don't discount sometimes airports you get your long-term clients because you get frequent travelers. You want to build out private clients that do a lot of business, CEOs, and they just send you this. I have a guy that sends me his schedule right up to 2021. You know what I mean? So it's crazy, but like it's so scheduled out. Like I can block it out. I know when to take my holidays. So you can always fall back on me and say, hey, how would you handle this one? Or I'm running into a little bit of a difficulty here. How would you do this? But don't worry too much about the airports now. I would reach out to your financing house next week, look into the paperwork that you need to get, and take it step by step.
Okay, sure. I believe, pretty much in terms of building your own profile in terms of business. I think I just saw that on one of your courses where you speak about social media and YouTube videos and all that. I think I just saw that on one of your courses. That's in there, right?
It's in there, and I can give you in a nutshell. When you give yourself a name, an LLC, right? Make it pretty city specific.
Okay.
Whether you want to use the word Chicago in there, but come up with a brand that you feel good about, right? The logo could be basic. It could be 3 letters, which is, for example, I'm gonna give you a very cheesy example: private Chicago driver. Okay, so PCD maybe is your logo. I'm just saying. I'm just thinking very cheesy here, right? You get more creative. You set up your Facebook. You have your regular Facebook profile page where you have your family and friends, and then you put your business page. You know how to do that, right? You add your business page. You set up your YouTube channel. You set up a Gmail, which is your company name. Let's say private Chicago driver at gmail.com. You put your logo on the Facebook. You put your logo on the YouTube channel. Highly encourage you to do multiple, even now. Get it all ready now. So by the time you've got your license, you just switch it on, right? And that is, you can make all the videos now and then you can upload them and you can set them on private for now. But when you're ready to go, you set them public. And that is private driver in, name me 4 or 5 really good neighborhoods in Chicago. Just off the bat. Just
name you?
Yeah, just name like a good area where you get an area.
There's Wicker Park.
Laker Park? So you'd say, okay.
Wicker Park.
Waker Park. Okay, so you'd say limo service Waker Park. That's your title. In your description, book your private driver, your name, your email, your details. I do the following, and you can look at other channels, can cut and paste a lot. Business trips, family outings, airport pickups, airport drop-offs. All of those are commerce separated. So you got to pad your keywords with 30 different keywords, and they're all city specific. So what he said was called Waker what?
No, it was Wicker Park.
Wicker.
Yeah, Wicker Park.
Okay, so Wicker Park, private limo, Wicker Park private driver, Wicker Park limo services, Wicker Park tours, Wicker Park pickup. You know what I mean? You get all you make your city specific videos, and as you're driving around there and you're in an area where you feel like, okay, cool, you feel good about how you dress today, your car's clean, I'm in front of that hotel. Hey guys, I'm here at the Hyatt. I pick up clients here, I drop them off. If you're ever in this area, Wicker Park, where this hotel is situated, call me. 30 seconds, right? And
Sure.
boom, 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 boom. You make 40, 50, 60, 100 videos in no time, believe me. I'm over here at this stadium. I'm over here at this nightclub. I if you have kids that need to be dropped off, I'm a private driver. I'm very reliable, 5-star rated. And that's it, 30, 60 seconds. Boom, boom, boom. You load them all up. Titles are based on where you made the video. Description is a cut and paste. You don't have to write that crap over and over again. You just cut and paste it in there. And then when it gets when you want to get the views, it's in the keywords. And if you honestly, if you would send me your top 10 areas, I will create the keyword portfolios for you. I'll gladly do that for you, right?
Sure.
Because I'm really good at. I'm really good at getting the people off the net into my car, right? And I'm just telling you that the biggest asset that you will have is you, your personality, and your clean car. That and your business card. That's going to be a game changer. But it is very, very nice getting clients off the internet. It's great.
Right.
I see you got a great car. You do, and then you put your rates in there. This is what I charge from the airport to this. This is what I charge picking you up at a concert. This is what I charge if you book me out for 4 or 5 hours. You put your rates in there. They're way more reasonable than the expensive limo companies. And by the way, here during the pandemic, it's ridiculous now. They have a minimum of 2 booking hours, which is $500. That's why nobody's booking them, right? Minimum 2 hour to bring them down to the airport in 45 minutes. People are not. So private drivers are loving this. The big limousine companies are shooting themselves in the foot, right? But because they've got high overheads, they got their offices, they got their parking lots, they got such high expenses. But you as a one-man show, you keep it real, you keep good rates, and you will see it'll come back to you tenfold in tips.
Sure.
Cool.
Sure, I'm looking forward to it. If you could just do one last thing.
No, go ahead. I have time.
No, I was just gonna say. You mentioned to me you would be sending me your business card just so I could get an
Yes, I'm gonna take a picture of the front and back of my business card right now. I'll text it over to you, and you'll quickly see how, my brand is called Limo Well, right? I like to bring the healthy lifestyle limo, like Limo Well, WELL, right? That's my brand, right? So, and again, you can call yourself whatever you want to call yourself, right? But the layout of the card is very, very simple. I'll show you. And then online next day flyers, they ship nationwide. And if you need someone to knock up your business card for you, I can always reach out to my designer Brian. He doesn't charge. He'll just plug it in for you and make you a card, right? What you need is branding. The success in this is really branding. Is that you're not all over the map with 20 different names, but you have your name, your brand, you have your channels, your Instagram, and it's not. And you can, and every time you make a video, you can tweet it out and you can drop the video in your Facebook business channel, right? It's not like you're doing the work 10 times. You're doing it once and then you're populating all these channels. It's very easy. It's not difficult. But on YouTube is where I get the biggest results, is because I really put a lot of thought into the keywords.
Sure. Yeah.
So there, if you hit me your top 10, 15 areas, your top 10 hotels, or the places where you make good money, send that over to me, whatever the names are. If it's a baseball ballpark or a concert arena, send that over to me. I'll send you the keywords, and then I'll send you a picture of the business card right now.
Okay, sure, Torsten.
Cool, buddy.
Appreciate the conversation.
Awesome. Great.
Thank you for advice.
Great talking to you, and then stay in touch, okay?
Sure. Thank you.
Have a good one. Okay, bye.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye. So that was a super, super long video, almost an hour. But that's truly how I handle people that I help getting into the private limo world, right? And now I will, as promised, send him my business card, front and back, which would look very similar to his business card. And I would support this gentleman on his journey until I don't have to teach him or show him anything anymore. He's completely self-sufficient, right? But that's a typical conversation I would have with you after you've done my video course on ridesharedrivingschool.com, and then wherever you want to take it. But this type of conversation that you have one-on-one is super important to restore the confidence that he or she can make this happen. You just got to go out there and do it, right? And I hope you reach out to me. I wish you well on your journey. I'm super grateful to the awesome conversation that I had with this gentleman. And he knows he can reach out to me. I'll always be there. I'll always pick up the phone or call him back and then assist and support him towards his success. And I've done it many a times. Ask Thomas Gibson, ask many other great drivers out there that are really enjoying the fruits of and all the possible avenues you can explore in this business that can take you to great places. Have a good day, everyone. Thank you.